hear myself through my headphones. Yes, man. Like, I feel real good about this right now.
Pay attention, because you are now listening to Permission to Speak Freely.
gotta listen. See, that's why we need, like, you gotta listen to the episode so you can know how we get down. Look, so I'm like, let's get straight to it. What's your mission in life?
My mission in life is
Damo done got right to them.
Right. He didn't even give me a warning. He was just like, no. So my mission in life, honestly, is just to be a better me, and build generational wealth. I don't want my kids to start from the bottom. I don't like the whole got it out the mud. Like, it's cool if you got it out the mud, but once you get it out the mud, then what are you doing so that your kids don't have to get it out the mud? So I think my mission in life ain't even like really for me. It's for my children, my children's children, their children's children. So, and just like to everybody around me, to bring them in with me. Everything that I know, I try to push that information out. Things that I learn game on. I'm constantly like, the people around me, I'm like, come on, let's do this.
Yeah. All right. So that was a joke way to start off. We're gonna get into that later, right?
You know what?
So my first question is this, right? This for both of y'all. I got 4 elements, right? And I'm taking out training as an element in this conversation. I got 4 elements that I believe are essential to having a good command, or just being a good professional worker wherever you work, right? I got sleep as an element, right? You need to have a healthy amount of sleep. Work is an element, right? Like actually doing the work. It's a job, right? Fitness in the military, for our military, components, that's a essential element of a military component. Then I have family as another element, right? So sleep, work, fitness, and family. Do y'all, like, as leaders, right? Do you believe that you could run a successful command without sacrificing any of those 4 elements?
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like when I was younger, yes. But you mean when I'm older as a leader, ain't no way, bro. And I'm looking at what you just told me, those 4, bro. I'm only doing 1. To be honest with you, man, that's and like sacrificing wise, and that's like work. Like I'm losing on the sleep part, I'm losing on the fitness part, and I'm losing on the family part. Right? The family got a little bit better now since I'm on shore duty, though. You know what I mean? I see them more and things like that. We do more, go to games and things like that. But at sea, it's even worse, man. So I'm trying, though. You know what I mean? I'm trying to work it out. Like I just, this sleep thing, I just found I got sleep apnea, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to work that piece of it so I can start sleeping better.
You about to retire, yo.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean.
You know what I mean?
Starting to go to the VA and shit.
I just had my sleep study, so
I'm trying to do everything, man.
Mug's been choking in their sleep for 10 years. It's time to retire. It's time to get that 60, what is it, 50%?
Exactly.
Try. You don't know the efforts we go to. But yeah, man. So in the fitness part is like the fitness is a little bit better. You know what I mean? You always out there because we in the military, so we always trying with the fitness part. But I'm here to tell you, man, that's a struggle now too, though. Right? It's a struggle now too. Especially as a leader now, man, where they're talking to you like, let's do this, man. I'm coming to work early. I'm leaving late. And then when you get home, you got your family, you got your kids, you got all this other stuff going on. It's hard, bro. It's rough, man. So most definitely, man, as a leader, man, I'm telling you, I'm one, work. Because we got to make sure the work done because the mission got to go. So work is always number 1. And I don't know if it should be, you know what I mean? But trust it is. It's always number 1 because the reflection of yourself is how much work you get done and the things you get done. It reflects on you. So you kind of in your job and it's your career and it's your all this stuff. So you want to make sure your shit together and you got your shit in the stock and boom, 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 boom. But other things take a hit, man. For me anyway.
So that's you answered the second part of the question, right?
Oh, my bad.
On the high side of the question, do you believe that a command could function while still prioritizing all 4 of those elements?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I think it's like they say, the work-life balance. People look at it like the balance is supposed to always be here. Like everything should be weighed equally at all times. But I don't think that's the case. Sometimes family's going to get more. Sometimes work is going to get more. As long as you're coming back when you're withdrawing from one, as long as you go back and pour into it at a later time, then to me, that's a balance. And like, can the command like balance all of that? I don't. There's so many issues and problems that people have, and just family alone, you know, and family, when your family isn't right, it affects you at work.
Yeah.
So how can you really balance all of that?
Yeah. So, I mean, before we go too far, though, can you let the listeners know who they got the pleasure of listening to right now?
Oh, hello, listeners. My name is Artisha Bing. I'm an LNC station at SurfPack. I've been in for 19 years and 6 months. I retire in September. So I just got my sleep apnea stuff done too. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And so I came in as a CTA, converted over to LN when they disestablished the CTAs, and I absolutely love my rate. Hey, if I could do it, well, I can do it outside of the Navy, but I'm just saying, like, I don't really want to work, but I love my job and what I do. And the effect that it changed. It's not all bad. We're not all bad people. It's hard for us to find Liberty Buddy.
Yeah, because like,
ain't nobody trying to be with the LN.
Where you going? Okay, I'm make sure I ain't there.
I got another little question, right? On top of that one. Do y'all believe, what's y'all thoughts on like protected like gym hours or protected fitness hours? Like 10-1, that's the protected gym hours.
Mm-hmm. If somebody, for me as a leader, if someone is adamant about working out, I'm going to try to support that as much as possible. Mm-hmm. So if you're like 10-1, that's my gym time. Can I? And I'm like, hey, let's work it out. Yeah. If the office can support it, the op tempo can support it, then why not? I'm not going to say no just to say no. Some leaders just want to see you there in the office at all times.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Crazy.
So I'm here for it. That's going to help them to pour back into the office anyway. If they're getting their mental good in the gym, they're getting their fitness going, and that's something that's important to them, and they are seeing that I'm respecting something that's important to them, then they're going to come back into the office and they're going to give me 110%.
Yeah.
Bro, them some good hours, man. I need to sign, man. Can you sign me up for those 10-1 hours? I don't know what command does 10-1, but boy, that is luxury.
If you can support it. Now, when I can't, that it's because I can't.
Them are the hours you got, bro?
That's adding lunch in too, right? That's like lunch.
Lunch somewhere in the middle of that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. That's good.
I had those hours. You asked if I had those hours.
Yeah, you had them hours.
I'm a senior chief petty officer in the Navy, bro. You know what I'm saying? I make my own hours. I gotta tell my bosses listening. But I put in work though. But I mean, I kind of do things. You know, you put in work, and like me, I'm task driven, right? We talked about that a million times. So I'm not if I have a certain like set of tasks assigned to myself that I assign myself, I'm not leaving until those tasks are completed.
Right.
Now if they complete it, early, then I'm able to, go early or find something else to do, some CPOA stuff or something else to do. Or if I got to stay late, I'll stay till 1900 if I had those tasks that I had to complete. So don't get mad at me when I'm, sliding out at like 1500 or whatever time I'm leaving, because it's always going to be task driven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Until you start getting those collaterals and shit, then you start being reactive, depending on what collateral you got. You got to be reactive. All this shit be happening, man. These kids, boy, they be going through a lot of stuff, man.
They do.
I'm telling you, be going through a lot of stuff.
Trust me, I know.
But I tell you this, Dumbo, man, like, you're right, though, man. You can get a schedule like that, man, because that does help. Like 10-1, these kids know. I don't even care about being a workout schedule. You got 10-1. We're going to throw it in there. You got your lunch you can go to. You can work out. You can do whatever you want to do during that time from 10-1, as long as you back at work. at one.
And
You know what I mean?
work done.
And getting stuff done.
Yeah.
I have no issues with that at all. But now, if I flip that to the ship, it's no way that can happen.
That's what. So I'm talking about the ship.
To the ship? Oh no, that can't happen, bro. On the ship.
Why not?
You can't because you won't get work done. You won't get nothing done. Because one.
Now before you continue, right? My why nots are not me disagreeing.
Yeah. I got you.
Me
I know.
asking you your thoughts on why not.
Yeah, my why nots is because the schedule, right? The schedule now out to sea is so crazy right now. You always got meetings going on, and every time you come out of a meeting, it's something that's going on. It's going to be reactive, right? Every time now you got to go fix this, you got to go do this, you got to do that. And it's just like, and then one thing about sailors, right? When they hit like 15, 30, 16, they looking for you, right? But now you done took 3 hours out of that work day. So they don't get to work. Some of them get to work at 7. Now ships get to work at 8, right? So now they only work for 2 hours. Most of that 2 hours is prepping something probably. You're trying to prep to do something, being an engineer. Now you're prepping, right? Now you let them go from 10 to 1. Now 1 hit, you do the work. Now something happens. Now it's 17. Now it's 18. It's 19. So I don't know if it's, and a lot of time I tell you right now, from my last ship in my last division, they wouldn't want to take 3 hours off.
All right, so let's go your last ship real quick. Let's go with your last ship.
Yeah.
Right? Let's go with your best second class on your last ship, right? Your best second class, right? Whoever that is, right?
Yeah.
They got kids? Your best second class got kids?
Yes.
All right, so your best second class got children. They married?
Yes.
All right, so best second class married with kids, right? What time is quarters?
I think we was doing it around about 8, probably 8.
All right, so quarters around 8. So how far away did that second live away from the ship, approximately?
I'm approximately going to say 20, 30 minutes.
It's funny when we ask how far away, all black people say the time. How far? Oh, like 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Even when people tell me the distance, like if I'm talking to like one of my white friends, I'd be like, yo, how far? They be like, oh, it's about 15 miles. Nah, dog, like how many minutes? Right?
That's funny, bro. That's funny. Hey, every time I ask that question, I'm going to say that from now on, bro.
Yeah, so you said like, so they like 30 minutes. So what do you, if you was to assume, right, if you was to shoot out their schedule, their routine, their schedule before they came to work, what you think they doing before they come to work?
They probably dealing with, hopefully they're helping with the kids and eating and doing all that stuff, preparing to go to work.
All right, so
and then if they're good, if you're a good second class, if you're a great second class, you hopefully you got getting there early to prepare. You know what I mean? The things for the day.
All right, so they getting there early. So man, them kids up real early, right? 5 in the morning, you got them kids up real early eating Captain Crunch. I
need them, bro. I need them to be ready, bro. I need them to work.
So they woke up, perfect life, help with the kids at 4:30 in the morning, right? They left the house. You got to damn near wake your kids up if you helping them.
Right.
All right, so they leave the house, they go to work, right? Now you saying they get to work. They working until, are they doing a prep until lunchtime, right? At lunchtime, what they got? How long they got? What's lunch?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say probably like 12:30, maybe from 11 to 12:30.
All right, so like an hour and a half. They're probably eating lunch, right? They're not working out, right?
Yeah, not working out.
All right, so then they go to lunch, then they go back to work, right? After work, what time they getting off? On a good day, like a regular work day, a good day, like maybe it's an inspection coming up in like 2 months.
Inspection coming up in 2 months? Oh man, 17 is a good day, man.
Right,
17 is a good day. Right? It's 17. A good day.
So now they going home in traffic, right?
Yep.
Because they leaving work at 17, probably take like 10 minutes to change and get up out of there. Some people would take them like 2 minutes to change and get up out of there.
Oh yeah, Probably go home over their uniform.
Like Superman.
Yeah. So they leaving work in traffic. Now, mind you, they ain't work out yet, right? They ain't go to the gym yet. So they leaving work in traffic. Are they going to the gym when they get off or what?
They going home.
They going home. And what they doing when they get home?
Sleep.
Might grab a drink.
Yeah, you're right. My video game. Yeah. Yeah, it might be in a video game, man.
They might not even have enough time to cook.
Yeah.
So they might like Uber Eats it or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't want to go too deep into it, but that's just a crazy, schedule to have, man. That's a 6.
Yeah, and then on top of that right there, man, like think about if they had duty. Now they're going to watch right after all that stuff that happened because we probably got them switch watches because we need them. We need them. Hey, can you switch watches? And now they got a what? A 2 to 7 probably, or 10 to 2 or whatever the case may be. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. And then on top of that, Manning is horrible right now. So we doing more with less.
Yeah.
We still got 24 hours in a day to get everything done, but we got so much more that's being compounded on because we just don't have enough people to get everything done.
How many hours do you sleep every night, Tisha?
About 4, 5.
5, right? What about you, Damon?
I'm probably writing the same thing. I don't sleep that much at all, man. But of course, my sleep apnea test came back, bro, and I know why. You know what I mean? My test came back, man. I wake up 32 times, man. You know what I mean? In the night. Yeah. And not breathing. You know what I mean? So
I swear I ain't sleep during that thing. They got all that stuff hooked on to you. Like, how can they even test you?
Yeah.
I don't even get it. They told me I just snore. I was like, I didn't go to sleep. First off, I don't even think I went to sleep.
I'm at 5 hours. I'm at 5 hours too. Like, and I was talking to somebody on the elevator. He was like, "Yo, I sleep." A bosun senior chief. He was like, "I sleep 5 hours a day. I can't help it." Me too. On the weekend, if I don't turn the alarm on or nothing like that, I'm waking up in 5 hours, no matter what time I went to sleep.
But let me tell you this. Let me tell you this, man. Like, you're right. The 5 hour thing, 4 5 hour thing. But bro, half of the time I'm waking up doing that little 4 5 hours though. It ain't like pure sleep. You know what I mean? It's like you're waking up, you're moving.
You wake up 32 times. So
you did say 32 times.
No, whoa. Don't laugh at that. That's facts. I got paperwork. I got documentation. I got documentation of track that. You know what I mean?
It's funny. It's funny. I want all the sleep apnea like support groups to get upset. Like,
get upset. I got this documentation. I will post it right. I'll highlight everything out. They can't read it, but I let them see it.
I'm insensitive to sleep apnea. Yeah, come talk to me.
But like you were saying earlier, like, you can have these issues leading up to it, but because us as leaders, we don't really take care of ourselves. We don't really start really looking into it until it's like, okay, well, let me start getting ready for retirement. Let me go start getting this stuff documented. And at the last minute, you finding out you got sleep apnea, you got everything in the book. I was looking at my record. I was like, I got all this. Like, it's hard to take care of yourself when you're trying to do the ship's mission, take care of family, and it's just hard. You tend to naturally put yourself last a lot of times.
Yeah, you don't know till you go down to that senior chief, master chief bertha, and it sounds like a DJ down there scratching. Like these dudes down here dying down this joint.
I'm telling you, for real. Hey, look, we was up. So Tisha, so me and Dumbo was on the ship together, right? So back aft, man, like all like the senior chiefs and the CMC, that man, everybody down there had a freaking CPAP machine. Yeah, everybody down there. So you go down there, man. I'm talking about these machines going off. Like, you're right, that's loud as hell. Yeah, everybody got it.
Everybody in there.
For real.
So I got another little question, right? I was at like a training. It's actually called Outward Mindset Training by Harbinger Institute. Like, it's a life-changing training. I ain't gonna get too deep into it because I actually want to sit down with our the facilitator. His name is Chip Hugh, and hopefully we can. But this training changed my life in 2 days. Something about it changed my life, and I hope that I could continue to exercise that knowledge. But during that training, I had a conversation, and so in some of my conversation, I talked about how fast it is for me to get like my primary duties done, like administrative primary duties, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm a alcohol and drug control officer, and I go to different commands and I inspect their DAPA programs and I inspect their UPC programs. And then every quarter I get like their paperwork and I go through it and I just pass it up to CNIC. That's pretty much the extent of what I do. Mm-hmm. Now, outside of that, like the administrative job. So for me, administratively is when I go do assessments and I process my assessments. And also when I process their reports, right? Monthly and quarterly. That's it for me. I could do that in a work day. I got 8 commands that I got to do that for. I could do that in a work day. Outside of that now, though, they have issues with supplies. We got issues when people have actual incidents, like it might be phone calls, it might be visits. I got to stay up on instructions, and they got different webinars and all of this stuff. So it's still stuff to do outside of the administrative. But I was talking to somebody, I'm like, yeah, I could get my administrative stuff done in one day. And they like, oh, well, that means that we could look into giving you some more work, right? And I'm like, nah, right? So I want to ask y'all, like, yeah, I want to ask you. So, and I gave this person an analogy about the electricians in the locker, right? So when I first got to my last ship, the ship me and Damon was on, now mind you, Damon is a damage control. He the damage control senior chief, right? Mm-hmm. But when I first get to the ship, my EMs, they was doing a whole bunch of other stuff in the repair locker, like hose, like pipe patching and like being hoseman and all this stuff, right? And the EM in the locker, their job is, they got one job. It's to isolate electrical power for the casualty, right? That's it. That's their job. So if it's a fire, they could be isolating power throughout, the length of the fire, throughout the duration of the fire. But for flooding, that EM need to get down there and isolate power because nobody can enter the space, until power is isolated because you water and electricity don't mix. So I go down to the light, like my first, I'm trying to be on D-set or deck it, wherever coach you on, right? So I go down to the locker and I don't see my electrician. So I asked the locker, officer, I'm like, where the electricians at? Oh, they on a hose team. They got a bunch of different teams. I'm like, the electrician's not supposed to be there, right? So basically the analogy here is this, like, what they were trying to do was it was my LPOs and stuff like that, but they wanted the electricians to seem like they were busy, right? So they wanted these dudes to appear to be busy, to be helping out, going an extra mile. And I think that was a good thought, but the electricians have a job, right? Mm-hmm. And their job is to be there when they're needed to perform that job, not to be all around looking busy and all of that.
Right.
So that was kind of what I was explaining to her. Like, you might not know that this person that you pull off of this wall, maybe it looked like he holding down a wall, but you might not know that the moment he let his hand up, it's flooding or some shit like that. Like, he was really like holding something from flooding. So before we start giving people extra jobs that's going to take away from their primary responsibility, let's kind of understand what their primary responsibility is. Right. And at some point I saw you laughing, Damon.
I was laughing at the whole electrician thing. But yeah, no, I mean, you're like you are correct, man. That's what we do. Right. Yeah. That's what we do, man. We find out like even my sailors, man, like if I see they ain't got like one or two things, like, let me add something else to you. You know what I mean? You can handle this too. So we always do that, but you're right, man. I tell you though.
Why we do that though? Why you think we do that? Why do y'all think we do that?
Because it's mission. We have to get things done.
It's always something that can be done.
Yeah, we always got something done. And the only thing our mission is, my mission kind of when I go to work is, we got to get this done. I'm not the truth. At that time, I'm not thinking about, all the thing. I'm thinking about, hey, we got to get A and B done, right? But I also think now, like you just said this, and maybe that guy, cut on a light bulb or whatever. But I do think it can go two ways too, though. If you don't talk to me about things, man, you might get ran in the ground too, though. Right? Like, I might be asking you, some people, it got to go back and forth. And now today's Navy is different, though. I ain't gonna lie. These kids will tell you what's up now. Right?
Yeah.
But back in my time when I came in, I was getting the shit worked out of me because I was all about getting, when my chief or my first class told me to do something, that was it. Mm-hmm. That was it. You know what I mean? I'm going out there and I'm getting it done. And I was getting overloaded. I was the only fireman on board the ship. In my division. So all the little crazy work, I was always doing it. I never came and said, hey man, I got a lot of stuff going on. I got this going on, blah, blah. I never said that. Yeah. Right? But now it's a little bit different. But man, you hit it on the head though, man. Like, we probably should be asking, like, okay, what else you got going on right now? Or do assessment of your division and see what else they got going on, instead of, oh, he just got one collateral, or he ain't got no collateral. So let's get, let's put this on him or her. So yeah, I got you, man.
What could happen that would pull you out of whatever else it is that you're doing? Like for me, like with my job is, if a dapper called me and somebody popped or something like that, if I'm doing something extra, I need to stop, what I'm doing and like help this. Yeah. For me, the way I look at customer service, I need to stop what I'm doing and help this person out at this moment. Like, I can't be doing some other shit for the command that I'm not billeted for. My billet is my primary responsibility. You know what I'm saying?
So I'll give you an example real quick for Tisha jump in, is that like me, so we do inspections on the ship, right? So in the big round of everything, the ramification of everything, I'm trying to find a collateral duty, right? for me just to have a collateral duty. So I had to pick and choose like what I wanted to do because so I picked FAP. So my expectation, well, you know what, FAP stuff don't happen all the time. So I still can do my primary job, but I got a collateral. So it don't really take me out of my job as much.
What's
you know
FAP?
What I mean?
What's FAP, man? I'm just saying that for the listeners. Like,
family advocate.
Fuck is FAP?
Right. Okay. For the families they have, so child abuse, family stuff that goes on.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's why I had to pick that. I picked and choose that. I went out, found out who it was, found out when they was leaving. I did all that because I had to find something like that. So now if I did a job, I would hurt myself if I did a job like, say, Simeo or something, right? Ain't no way, or I could do like NDOC or something like that. I probably wouldn't be able to do it because I'm always traveling and I'm always on shift doing stuff. So, but I had to explain this to like, the Master Chiefs and stuff, like, cause they were like, okay, what are you doing? I can't do that. I had to say that, like, you know what I mean? I can't do that job because I'm always gone. I'll fail in it. You know what I mean? I will fail in that job. So I think that's the communication piece that has to happen when it comes to that. But as a leader, guess what? I can do that. I can talk like that. Shit, we've been in 20-something years. You can talk like that. Right. But when you're young like that, you probably ain't talking like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you that, like, the really good sailors, they're the ones that get all the work because the leaders are going to be like, oh, that's my guy. I'm going to go to this person. And that's, that's the person I'm going to go to. And it's like, it's almost like they're being punished for their work ethic because you just go keep piling them on. And it's just like, after a while, it's just like, well, dang, like, you keep coming to me. All these people over here not even putting in no work. Like, ask them to do something. But that's how we do, because it's like, well, I know this needs to get done. Yeah. And I know who I can go to get it done. But it's like, then we like just running them in the ground. We running them in the ground.
Man. That's facts. You have to like
more for good work is more work. Man.
Yeah.
Right.
And you try your best to build your team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That was deep right there. But you most definitely gotta try to build your team, man, because eventually, as a leader, you're going to find out that that's happening.
Right.
Because eventually that sailor going to break, right? And it's going to start like, if it's a second class, guess what? He can talk to his LPO more than he can maybe talk to me. So you finna hear it from the LPO then. Because the LPO, hey man, can we give this somebody else because of this and this and this? Then you're going to start hearing, then you're going to start finding out why it's happening. Why they say that? Or because they getting overtasked, they getting overworked.
Right.
And you're trying to build a great team, man. But some people like just here for a paycheck, and it's the honest truth, man. You got some people that just ain't gonna cut it because you can't put up a bad product either. Right. I mean, then Dumbo can account for this because I've seen Dumbo do this shit a million times. You end up doing it yourself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? A lot of tasks you'll end up, doing it when you're on a ship and you got like 5 or 6 people, you know what I mean? You find yourself working a whole lot more than you normally would. And the other, you just want to get it done and get it knocked out. You find out you're doing it yourself because you don't want to task, your guys because they're getting overtasked.
Yeah. Hey, Tish, I got a question for you, Tish. So,
what's up?
Like, let's say you want lunch, right? You're trying to get some lunch, right? This a light question. This ain't a heavy question. So it's lunchtime, you try and grab some lunch. It's, the pizza truck. You see the pizza truck. You want a slice. You eat pizza?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, all right. So you want a slice of pizza. So you see the pizza truck, but then it's a long ass line, like 30 people in this pizza truck line, right? But one of your friends, one of your homies is up front. They like 2 people behind, the truck. So you go over to your homie and you like, hey, can you grab me a slice? I'll give you the money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Do you think that's wrong to do?
I think you got to get in where you fit in. Right. Like, you got to get in where you fit in. If I see somebody up there, I'm going to be like, who?
Right. Yeah, let me give you this and you give me this.
Put me in. Yeah. Like, hey, what you got? Right. I'm sending a text message and everything. I might be a little bit more.
Oh, you doing a text?
Yeah.
You legit. Yeah, you doing a text. Yeah.
While I'm back there in the back of the line, like, hey, yo, can you get me a pizza? I pay you the money. And as soon as they say I'm cutting out the line.
So all right. So I just gotta do better. I gotta be a better person because
hey, bro, I'm with. Go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say I ran up on my boy in the line. He was like 2 people back, and I just in front of the dude that was right behind him and everything. I'm like, yo, bro, can you grab me a slice? You know, my logic is that he in line anyway. He was gonna order something anyway. Yo, the dude that was behind him was like, he was giving me the rock face, like, yo, who is this dude? Like, and I'm thinking, like, what am I doing wrong? I know this dude. He getting a slice already, boom, boom, boom. And then I was talking to some junior sellers, and they was like, yo, senior, like, all you gotta do is, shoot him that text, like, ask him to hook you up through the text. That's probably better.
Yeah.
I take that on as a lesson, man. What was you about to say, David?
Well, I would just like, I probably wouldn't even got in line. I probably would have gave it a little ice, but I would give a little signal or whatever, give me a slice or whatever. But that's what we do. But I think because we don't never take.
What signal?
I can see how people getting upset about it, huh?
What's your signal to get a slice? You said you gave him the signal to get you a slice.
Yeah. I went to the side of the truck. Like let him so we get eye contact. I would have never got in line. I would have never got in line, bro. I would have went straight to the side of the truck so we could see each other. Yeah. I'd be like, give him a love. Hey, you know what I mean? Little one up. Right. You know what I mean? And then he gonna say, "I got you."
Talking anyway.
Yeah.
Our culture, we talk without talking anyway.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. And I'm here to tell you though, but you know what though? But thinking about it hard, I can't think why people may get upset if you just walk right up. You know what I mean? Pass by everybody. I can see why they're getting upset. Do I care?
Yeah,
probably not. Right, but I can see the pie. I just want my people to pie. You know,
literally. And then they run out behind that person.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then you can see if somebody know you. If somebody know you, they be like, "Come on, bro." You said, "Come on, bro."
Hey, now look, what happened? Now, if that was the last slice, though, I feel bad. Like, there's no more buffalo chicken. Oh, my bad, bro. My bad, bro.
Yeah, I would have said that loud too. You'd been in front of me. I mean, that was my slice, man.
Yeah. So I got one more quick shot question. It might not be a quick shot answer, but with the recent, I don't know if y'all been paying attention to like Disney. So Disney's CEO, he came back, Bob. I really don't know how to say his last name. It's either Iger or Iger, but he came back to Disney and he instituted that they gotta come in the office. There's no telework, remote work for at least 4 days a week. So for at least 4 days a week, they gotta come in the office and work, right? And it seems as if he's trying to restore or fix the culture over at Disney, right? So he left. I guess things didn't go the way he thought they would, and he came back. Telework done for at least 4 days a week. Same thing that Elon Musk did in Twitter. So me and my wife, we have these debates because I lean more toward the person that bring the people out of telework. Like everybody be in the office, we need to be here physically and all of that. And my wife, she lean more to, oh, you don't gotta stop people from teleworking to, change a culture. So my question is for y'all, like, what's y'all thoughts? Do you think that like you could shift a culture to trend in a positive direction with 50% telework? So that's either 50% of your people teleworking or your people teleworking for 50% of the time. Can you positively effectively change a culture?
I think it's going to depend on the workers, because it's if production is going down, and that's probably what was going on with Disney and Twitter. Because if it was working, then it's like, hell, if it ain't broke, don't damn fix it. But if it's not working, yeah, it's time to snatch people back. It's time to come back in the office. And you actually can get more work done a whole lot easier when everybody is right there. If I ain't got to call you, or I ain't got to send you a document or whatever, everybody's right here collectively working. I can just call out to you, hey, what's the status of blah, blah, blah? You give me an answer and we all done. When you teleworking, half the time they not at their desk. They not doing work. They over there watching their TV shows and going and clicking the button every now and then. Because, I mean, that's just kind of like how... That's just kind of how people are. That's how they are. So I don't think so. I think you can do some level of teleworking, maybe like once or twice a week or something like that, if that. But I don't know about 50%.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
My
we
take.
got people who want more than that. Like, even right now, we got a civilian right now who battling out with my jag because he don't want to come back to work. Like, COVID is over, homie. It's time to come back.
It's really over. It's over.
It's time to come back. But
yeah. So my take is that I'm gonna try a couple things first, though. Right, like we're gonna try to see, like, because right, it's a reason why they want to bring people back to work.
All right, so it's two different reasons, right? So before you go, I'm gonna break it down because I want to make sure we on the right, stratosphere with this. Disney, he left some, whatever happened. I don't think Disney making good original content, but whatever happened. He came back. Twitter, Elon Musk is a new leader over there. Like, he just took over. So that was part of the implementation. All right, I'm done.
Okay. So what I do is, like, I mean, I guess the Twitter thing is a whole new thing. Somebody come in brand new, they just bring them back. But my thing is that if you're not getting the production, you're not getting what you need. I think before I bring everybody back at once, because they could have been teleworking for a long period of time, right? And then if they teleworking for a long period of time, their life has adjusted to that too. So I'm kind of probably going to implement a couple things first, but we're going to get back to coming back though, right? I'm going to implement a couple things. Say, okay, we're going to go to 3 days a week. And then eventually we're going to get all the way back though, right? Because there's no reason why people can't come in, right? Unless we have hired people that stay out of state or something like that, then that's a whole nother different ball game. But like Tisha, you're right. We want to get everybody. You can change culture when I'm looking at you and I know how you work and I know how you get down and all that type of stuff. I know I can kind of change culture, right? But man, teleworking, man, if you got a job, and it depends on the job too, though, right? Some people jobs they can do at home the whole time and be very effective, right? But doing it at home. But then also it depends on what it is. But that's tough, man. That's a tough because you as a leader, I mean, people love to be at home. They love, all that stuff about it. And you could be a hated guy, but as a leader, sometimes you're going to be hated.
Right. Yeah, I think that's true. It depends on the job because some jobs, it's like, why not? If you can be just as productive and you as a person, your work ethic is you're going to still be at home teleworking, like legit teleworking, then I don't really see an issue. I think it can definitay work. Hell, I'm trying to telework these last couple months. I'm trying to find my new job while I usher my way out. And that's the thing. It's like now my focus is starting to shift more on preparing for retirement. So I should be teleworking more because I'm going to have to do VA appointments and all of that stuff and, trying to figure out what I'm going to do when I get out. And so my focus just has to shift. So teleworking should be my natural progression as I usher my way on out the door.
Yeah.
But, hey, Tisha, I got a question when you say that. How hard is that for your, you
for
to
my
shift?
rating?
No, for you to shift to try to shift yourself to retirement and start getting things done. Is that hard?
Actually very hard, actually. It's hard for me to let go.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to get my relief to come in earlier because I feel like if my relief is there, I'll have a better time. It'll be easier for me to let go because somebody else got the reins, It's just, and then I've been doing this for 20 years. It's all I've ever done. Only other place I've ever worked is Target. Okay. So it's the people that I feel like, dang, I'm about to lose a whole family by retiring. And so it's trying to step away, take care of myself more in the process. And now it's to the point where I have to, I got to go to these appointments. I got to get this stuff documented. And it's almost like a guilt, when you're away, because you're like, dang, is this getting done? Is that getting done? And then they're like, oh, Chief, are you coming back? And I'm like, yep, I'll be back. I don't want to come back, but I'm going to be back. Yeah. It's and I think it's part of it, the Navy, we do kind of instill that family aspect into all of us. We look at our sailors like our kids, kind of, And so, it can be hard to break away from that. It's almost like it's a curse, because when it's time for you to take care of you, you feel guilty. And when it's time for you to like start making your way out the door and start letting go, you don't want to let go. You want to let go, but it's like, how can I want to let go when I know everything is good, because my loyalty is to this office. My loyalty is to this organization. This organization took care of me and I want to take care of it. So I personally am having a very hard time just letting go. And my officers tell me all the time, like, Chief, you got to start letting go. And I'm like, well, get my replacement in here. ASAP. Yeah. And then I can let go, because y'all still going to call me.
Yeah, you're right. Like,
they say let go. It sounds nice, but I still will be calling me.
Yo, it's funny. Like I'm acting as the CMC right now, because it's a bit of a turnover, so I'm kind of the person there. And like I'm chilling yesterday watching a movie or something, and the phone rings. My phone rings, and I could see through my watch is one of the Chiefs in the mess. So, I suck my teeth, man, right? And then, like, right after I suck my teeth, I get up so quick, damn near pull my hamstring, because my phone was charging somewhere else to answer this damn phone. You know what I'm saying? So you right about because I'm like, I can't let this thing ring more than 3 times. I want him to know I'm there. Like, if he need me, like,
right.
So you're right. But real quick, before we go too far, I don't know if the listeners can see this, but I'm wearing an affiliate. Damon hate when this shit happens, right? But I'm wearing an affiliated hoodie. Shout out to affiliated. Shout out to Ebony Wilson. She was on our podcast before. She got some clothes and stuff like that. Damon hate when I do this, but I actually reached out to her. You know what I'm saying? And I got this from me, sending her a message. So it's dope. It's green. It's a green color. Tisha, you watch football?
No. I mean, so kinda. I watch it with somebody, but I won't like just turn on the TV and watch it.
All right, because I asked that for a reason. So this green is Eagles color. I really prefer Sixers colors because I ain't watched football in a while, but I might start back. But the reason why I asked about football is another thing we got to do right after this. But the reason why I asked about football is because Damon, before we started, I talked to Damon off mic, and Damon said he was getting ready for tomorrow's game. And I was just wondering how a senior chief in the Navy, gets ready for a major football game. So like, exactly, like, what's your routine?
It's a process, guys. It's a process. It's a process, man.
What you gotta make sure you watch tape. You watch a game tape.
Yeah. I gotta, everything that's happening, like, and for me, I have been watching the 49ers for so long that I get to see the practices. You know what I mean? They have videos of the practices and stuff, right? So I got to make sure all week I'm watching the practices and making sure everybody's healthy and everybody's good to go. I got to make sure I got my wings. I got to make sure I got the grease, peanut oil too, man. I can't do all the other crap. I'm trying to get a little healthy, peanut oil. You know what I mean? I got to make sure, got the dip, you know what I mean, is ready to go. You know what I mean? You got to make sure all that stuff good, man. So you got to prepare yourself. And then we play on a Saturday because it's playoffs, right? So we play on a Saturday this week. So I got to make sure the day is Friday, right? Yeah. So regardless of if it was an off day, I was off anyway. I can't work on the day before the game. You know what I mean? I got,
Your command know that? Your command know that?
They might not know everything. I can't work day for the game, man. Got to do stretches and stuff. I sometimes I jump up. You know what I mean? I just had surgery not too long ago. Sometimes, gotta make sure I'm ready.
Wow. So I'm from Georgia. So, I'm man. If I was to root for a team, it would be the Falcons.
Yeah.
Why are you looking like that?
I thought you was about to say Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, I thought you was
going to say Georgia Bulldogs.
It's Falcons. But so I'm divorced now. But when I was married, my ex-husband, he was an Eagles fan. And we kind of would butt heads watching, the games because I'm going to root for who I'm rooting for. Yeah. And one year the Eagles did horrible. We couldn't watch no football at all in the house. Like, nah.
That's funny.
Was he from Philly? Was he from Philly?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Shout out to Philly, man. Shout out to Philly. So another thing we can't go too far without doing is honoring Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That's why we off. That's why we're not going to work,
right.
Today. Most likely this episode will be out on that day. So that's why we're not going to work today is it's not just to be out of work. It's not just a holiday. It's a day that we start to recognize as a service day as well. So some people are going out and doing some service to their community and things like that. And we know that Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was of astute service. And I mean, in my opinion, after reading a little bit more about him, he's one of the bravest people that has existed in American history, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And that's bravery by these guys, they used, and women at the time, they used jail as a weapon. They used getting arrested, as a weapon. You know what I'm saying? That was one of our biggest weapons against segregation and stuff like that. And Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, he led the charge, on that. You know what I'm saying? And I read about where he was when he passed, and the march that they did over there, the one that went bad. So he was planning to do another march. He was on his way out to dinner, and that's when he was assassinated. But FBI investigating him for years. He died at 39. He wasn't even 40 yet, and got all this accomplished in that amount of time. Pretty much changed the trajectory of African Americans in America. In that amount of time. In a very short amount of time, a very young man. So I always take my hat. I'm going to talk probably a little bit more about him, so I don't want to go too crazy because I read the book. But I'm going to always take my hat off to the efforts of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I said his name that way 3 times like that because, sometimes I say MLK, sometimes I say Martin Luther King. Nah, he was the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and one of America's greatest people, in my opinion.
Yeah. Right. And also, man, just to add a little bit to it, man, American hero, man. We always talking on here, teacher. We always talking about heroes. We do a hero of the week most of the time. We're not gonna do one a day. Most of them do a hero of the week. He was a hero, man. We talking about. So I was listening with this guy. He was talking about Martin Luther King. Pretty much every time that he was doing a march or he was doing anything, it was a possibility that somebody was going to kill him, and they knew that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They knew that. That's the crazy part, but they never stopped, never wavered, never anything because of what he was trying to accomplish. Right. And you got to tip your hat off to somebody like that. You know, it's a possibility every time you step anywhere. That's a possibility somebody out there trying to kill you. That's crazy to even think about.
Anywhere. Yeah. It's a possibility. Every time you step anywhere, you could be sleeping in your house at night. Death threats. Death threats all day.
Yeah.
Right.
And your family. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is before social media. Before internet, was too crazy. Like I said on our last podcast, I think the first time that most of America really got to see him was during the March on Washington. You know what I'm saying? So outside of that, now this person is just even Jack Johnson and all of those, people from back in the day that was making history. You didn't even really see them. You know what I mean? We get to see them now because times have, changed. But these people going years putting in work without you ever even seeing their face or whatever like that. So that was a big one. A lot of brave people, and he was a leader amongst leaders. A lot of people don't give a lot of credence to the fact that he was a leader amongst other people that were leaders. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely want to shout them out. Anybody doing anything for the MLK holiday?
My son is in a mentorship group, a mentor group for middle school and high school African Americans in the area. And so they have a MLK parade. Well, there's an MLK parade that's going to be down here. And so they're going to be marching in the parade and doing a little routine and all of that stuff. So we'll be down there at the parade.
Nice.
Watching my son and then, being a part of that. So.
That's nice.
So let's talk about you for a little bit, right? I'm gonna talk about rates in the Navy, right? So you got rates like EM, So if the Navy was like a record label or something, right? EM, DC men, they like greatest hits rates, like we all know about the great. When you join in, like they open up the books, you see these rates, you kind of already know what they mean. Somebody you knew is this rate. And then you got B-sides, right? You got B-side rates, like rates that people don't really know too much about, you never really heard of. You might not even really have ever met somebody at this rate until you hit a certain rank. And me personally, you know what I'm saying? I would put LN somewhere on the B side, like a rate.
Yeah, we're a unicorn rate.
Yeah, right. Okay, all right. So like you ain't disagree with me on that one, right?
No,
I work in DC. I meant the most LNs that I know working in DC. I might have met a LN when I might have met a LN back on a ship of mine or something, but I really don't remember. I'm on a destroyer. I was on a destroyer and a cruiser. I don't think we had any LNs on destroyers or cruisers. So it's some sellers right now on destroyers, cruisers, might have did shore duty. I'm sure it's a seller that's been in the Navy for like 9 years and does not know at all what an LN does or something like that. And I'm assuming that LNs do different things depending on where you're stationed at, whatever.
Correct.
But based off of your work and your experience in the Navy, can you even be an LN as an E1?
No, we don't actually bring people in as LNs. You have to convert over.
At what rank?
We take the cream of the crop. At E3, eligible for E4.
Okay.
E3 eligible for E4. And then once you finish school, you automatically get advanced to E4. So if you ever see a LNSN, it's because they went to mast. Yes, that's the only way you're going to see a LNSN right out of school. At school, actually, they get advanced to LN3. So yeah, we don't have LN E3 and below. You have to convert over. And we're actually in a push right now to get more people. So for all your listeners, if anyone is interested in being an LN, holla at me.
That's all they got to do is holla at you.
Holla at me, train my relief, getting people in. Anyone in your AOR, really, go to your local RELSO, DSO. We're in this huge push. We're doing recruiting seminars and stuff like that. So definitely tap in with your leadership, see if they can get you the right connections. And I have people that reach out to me from all over, and I'll send them to the person in that AOR. So that's why I say you can still reach out to me, and I can get you to somebody that's in your area that can help you.
So what do you do?
Right now, I'm at SurfPac. So I'm at was at a 3-star command. So I process legal packages like NJP, ADCEPs, high level stuff though, things that need the 3-star attention. So mostly like COs getting relieved or officers and chiefs getting detached for cause and stuff like that. So that's like the high level of the stuff that we deal. Oh shoot, my bad. That we deal with. Court martials. And then we do a little bit of the notaries too. Notaries, power of attorney, stuff like that. So, but yeah, you're right. Depending on where you are, I could be at an office where I'm working on the trial side as a prosecution. On the prosecution side, my very next duty station, I could be working on the defense side, and I just have to switch it up in my head. And that's the same for the JAGs. Depending on where they go, you have VLCs now too, the Victim Legal Counsel. So you might be on the side of the victim, protecting the victim's rights and ensuring that the court rules are in their best favor and that their voice is heard during the court martial process. So that's part of why I love being an LN. You just never know what you're going to be doing. It's juicy. It's a juicy rate. We know everybody's business.
Now, how is that though? Like, so, like, you ever been like with somebody like a chief or senior chief, and you knew they was going through some shit? You know what I'm saying? And they like, they wasn't putting on like, but they was putting on like maybe like they wasn't or something like that. And you like, yo, this is the same person that got all this going on or whatever.
I'll tell you this: when I was a first class, and I have to sit in the DRBs as a first class, and I would be sitting there like some of those chiefs that were in there like rah, 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 rah. And I used to be sitting there like, this motherfucker over here. Your folder on my desk right now. You yelling at him? Like, for real though? So, but yeah, and I have people who are going through the process and they come to me like, hey, help me out. What should I do? What should I do? And I'll be like, or what's going on with my case? And I'm like, I can't even talk about it. I can't even talk about it. And it is hard because you be like, I just want to be like, stop talking about motherfuckers. If something ever go down, don't say shit. Word to everybody. Like, just don't talk. And so, people will come up to me all the time like, hey, I'm in this situation. Or they'll hit me up. Like, people I haven't talked to in years jump in my DMs like, hey, I got this situation going on. What should I do? Like, people I haven't talked to in years. Like, no kid, like, funny story. This guy hit me up one day. I was stationed with him in Japan. This was like years later, probably like 4 years later. He calls me out of nowhere on social media. And I'm like, why he calling me from Facebook? And I answer and he was like, hey, the police is at my door. They say they got a warrant. What should I do? And I'm like,
Ian.
Might be too late.
And he's active duty. Active duty.
Yeah.
He's like, what should I do? And I'm like, bruh, for real?
Yeah. I'm hitting in on that bad boy.
So do you like closely follow like cases? It's like, since you are LN, did it kind of transfer over to like just your interests? So like, for instance, like Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion case, were you like more into it than maybe like the regular person?
Yes and no. I was into it because it kept popping up in social media. Like, you just couldn't really escape it. And I did listen to a lot of the like when the like the bloggers or the newscasters or whatever, when they would come back and they would talk about like what happened today. It was interesting. Like, I do find that stuff interesting. And I can tend to weed through some of the fluff and and kind of understand why certain things are certain ways. And I think that's probably what I get the most out of it, because I like to read the comments too. And so I know how the process goes, and sometimes the process doesn't seem fair. And with that situation, it was like it was almost like Meg was on trial. Because people was like, oh, she lied about this and that. But that doesn't, like, her lying about a relationship has nothing to do with her getting shot in the foot, other than like, okay, credibility. But like,
and that's what they try to do. That's exactly what they try to do.
Exactly. And so it was like, it was hard to watch it because it was too biased for me. And me having like the background, the law background, I want the facts. I don't want all of I don't give a damn about no damn relationship and all of that stuff. I just want the facts. And so it was too much of the other stuff that was kind of being put out. And so I was just like, I'll just sit back and I'll wait for, like, I want to see the transcript. That's what I want to see. I want to see the transcript and the evidence. It's just kind of hard for me to just do it based off bloggers to kind of get an interest in it.
I almost when it was going down, like you were saying, all the stuff that was popping up, I was almost thinking like, this is for us. You know what I mean? Like the fans, like, oh, she did this relationship, and I don't, like you said, why we care about that? Wasn't the whole what we doing here? Right. You know what I mean? But we end up finding so much about all of them. You know, like that's not even what we doing.
Right? Yeah. They were talking about relationships and who was doing who and like that. Yeah.
I wanna like, before we go too far, I want to correct what I said too. It was the Tory Lanez trial, not Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion. I heard that so many times. It's not, Meg wasn't on trial. Tory was on trial, so it was the Tory Lanez trial. And also, before we go too far, another shout out to Affiliated. I forgot to say that this wristband is from Affiliated as well. It says courage. Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. Mark Twain. So thank you, Ebony. We definitely appreciate you over here. All right. So back to LN.
Mm-hmm.
Is it, do y'all have rules? Like, is things y'all can't, like, what do y'all have, like privacy kind of rules and things that y'all not supposed to be talking about? Okay.
Right. Yeah. We can't talk about our cases. We can give like scenarios, like for this right here, like I can talk about cases in the past. I can't give any names or anything like that. Or if somebody comes up to be like, hey, what's going on with blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we can't talk about that stuff.
So what's the craziest, what's the craziest thing in your career that you've seen?
Okay, hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. And I can answer this quickly because it was crazy. So there was a senior enlisted member who, see, how do I preface this? Senior enlisted member who tried to kill his wife by beating her with a baseball bat. Daughter comes in and while everything is going on, the daughter runs out to go get help. The service member jumps on his motorcycle and speeds off base, gets into a motorcycle accident and dies.
Damn.
In the meantime, they're looking for the son because let him know, like, hey, bring him home so they can, tell him about his dad and everything. They can't find him. They found him when NCIS went to the room to go like try to figure out where he could be. They found him stuffed in a sea bag in his closet. The dad had already killed him. He was going to off his entire family and go to the Philippines with his mistress. He had already tried to kill his wife before and it didn't work. He hired a hitman or something, tried to kill her and she got away. And so that was the craziest case that I have ever dealt with. Like when I read the case, because I got it as like a case, it was a line of duty investigation. Whenever somebody dies, you have to determine if it was in the line of duty or not. So for their death benefits. Yeah. And so I read it for that purpose. And when I got to the part about the son, like it hit me. So I had to get up and walk away and just like go for a walk. And I like called my mom and I was just talking to my mom, just unrelated stuff, just to kind of clear my mind and then come back in. And like, I don't even think I even finished that case that day. I had to come back to it like the next day because it was just...
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was just deep. But it's crazy, like the people that we serve with every day, and you never would think it. And the crazy thing about that case was that some people in the Chiefs mess knew about this mistress. They know he was trying to kill his wife, but they knew about the mistress and nobody said anything. And so luckily, I mean, the wife and the daughter, they were okay, but yeah, they lost a son and then he died.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
His son was in the service?
No, his son was like a teenager.
Oh shit!
But he had beat him with a baseball bat and stuffed him in his sea bag, stuffed them in 2 sea bags and put them in the closet. If I'm being too gruesome, because this stuff that we see this stuff all the time. So if I'm being too gruesome, let me know. But yeah, put them in the sea bag, and they found them while they were trying to figure out where he was, and then found them in the house.
Yeah. So were you stationed in Cali
really sad.
At this time? Or?
No, I was in Japan.
Okay. So, because I was going to ask you, is it any like geographical locations that you've been stationed at that like as far as some of the stuff that came across your desk has been worse than others or whatever,
Japan.
if that makes any kind of sense? Okay, Japan.
I would say almost Japan, just because, and I've tried to figure out myself actually before. I don't know if it's like the stress of Japan or the alcohol different, but it was just a lot of like crazy cases over there. So anywhere from like the How to Catch a Predator type cases, the attacks on like the civilians, you know, they didn't happen too often, but I think actually, you know what? Now that I think about the difference between Japan and anywhere else is that no matter where it happens in Japan, whether it's Sasebo, Yokosuka, Okinawa, Masao, no matter where it is, the entire Japan region feels it because we all have to go on lockdown. Yeah. So it's not like if something happened in Cali and you kind of hear about, oh, that's crazy, but everybody don't hear about it because everybody goes into lockdown. Everybody hears about it. Yeah. So I think that's probably why it feels like it was crazier in Japan, I would say.
Yeah. So what do you do to decompress? Like if you're working at this job and you seeing all of this stuff come across your desk, what do you do to decompress when you're not working?
It makes me hug my kids a little tighter. I can tell you that. And kind of like submerging myself into other things, whether it be my outside work that I do, or just, you know, dinner. I'm a foodie. Don't let the weight fool you. I can eat. So I'll like go out to eat, go get my favorite meal or something. I probably should work out, but don't really do much of that. Let me see what else. I try not to like drink when I'm in like one of those moods because I don't want it to like bring me down. So I try not to do that, but yeah, I don't even watch TV that often either. So I just kind of like come home and just be present with my kids really to kind of get me grounded. But we do see a lot of heavy cases. And so we get this training that's called vicarious trauma, which is trauma that you get from like outside trauma, like witnessing another trauma. And so day in and day out, hope the VA is listening, day in and day out, like we get exposed to this trauma, like reading these cases and stuff. Like that one case will stick with me for the rest of my life. So we get exposed to this stuff very, very often. And so like we have to be able to decompress. And so it's a heavy job. It can be really heavy. So not everything is just like the drug pops and, you know, like the easy ones like that. Some of them are really heavy. And depending on your background, it can be triggering to you. So we do get people who are not LNs that come to work into the legal office. And that's one of the conversations that I have with them, that depending on your background, you read certain cases, you may get triggered. If so, let me know. We can shelter you from cases like that.
Yeah. Now, what type of rates? Like, you talk about like yeoman? Or?
No, because like at like for instance at SurfPack and at the Real So, we'll get like the sailors who are on their pregnancy tour.
Oh, okay.
Or the Limdu sailors. So they'll come, or someone who's interested in converting to LN. We always like for them to get some OJT so they can see what the rating is about. And also so that we can see if they would be a good fit, so they can see if they would be a good fit with us. Because I mean, it's a lot of work. We're going to work you. So you got to there has to be a level of enjoyment that comes out of it. So we just prefer that they work in legal and see if they like it. And then we can kind of see how they are before, you know, they go and make that commitment. And there's not too many jobs out there where you can like do that. So, even though they have like the what is it, PAC or something like that, where they supposed to be doing it, but they don't be doing it.
PAC ain't it? like
nah, they don't be they be working them like BMs. They don't get out and explore other ratings like they're supposed to.
trying to get a PAC seller from BMC, man, on that last shit, man. Like,
it ain't happening.
BMC was like, like I need him.
I don't know why though.
He coming in like 2 months.
I don't know why.
He gonna stay with me till they convert his ass.
Last day.
Right.
No OJT.
Exactly. And that's not even how it's supposed to be. It ain't even how it's supposed to be though.
My man sad as hell doing life jackets in the P-Way, man. Like, hey, 2 months.
I'm trying, bro. I'm trying to get you, man. I'm trying to get you. That's all you can tell him every time. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get you.
Yep.
That is crazy. But I had I hope I didn't forget it because I had another so do you work with NCIS, right?
Not really. They pass their cases over to us, but we don't really work directly with them per se.
The matter of fact, I remember my question because a lot of what you were saying sounds rough as hell, right? So what's like some of the benefits of being an LN?
So one of the reasons why I converted over, I like this type of work anyway, but it also transfers over into the civilian sector as a paralegal. So the experience that I'm getting here, it directly transfer over. And on top of that, as a LN, OJAG pays for a associate's degree in paralegal studies at Roger Williams University. So that's not even TA. OJAG pays for that. And we all have to go through that program, and they have professors that come at Rhode Island, Newport, Rhode Island, on the base. They have professors that come on the base and actually teach the LN certain courses.
Yeah.
So we kind of a big deal, okay?
And it's a close-knit community, right? It seemed like
absolutely.
A pretty close-knit.
Yeah, I always say we're a dysfunctional family. Because it's like anytime you're like too close and you're so small, it's like you do one thing wrong, everybody's going to know about it, seems like. And so that can be like something that's hard for somebody to recover if they do make a mistake. But we are very, very close, very tight. We have symposiums where all the LNs will get together and go through like a week of training. Whenever we see each other, it's hugs. I just went to an all hands yesterday. We had a admiral that came into town. And so there was an all hands for all of the JAGs and the LNs and the AOR. And I went, and it's like everybody, you always see everybody hugging everybody, So that's why I say it's like a family. Like, we are very tight knit. We get on each other's damn nerves, but we love each other to death, though.
So it's funny, like listening to some of your story, because most of the islands I know they like really religious, like mostly all the islands I know, like they go to church like every Sunday.
Listen, the job will stress you out,
okay? But have you ever made a mistake?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I would I haven't made like huge mistakes though, but I have made some mistakes.
Now don't say I don't want you to say the mistake I made was loving too hard, or the mistake I made was caring too much.
That wasn't it. Now, when I think the biggest mistake that I've ever made, I made it as a leader, and it was that pressure of, the sailors and family and work. And I was a new chief, and I said something that I shouldn't have said. And yeah, it ruffled a whole bunch of feathers. And I was wrong. I shouldn't have said it. But I was hot at the time. And, sometimes, people get your blood pressure going up, and then you just say something. And it's like, you as a leader, You don't get no pass when you say something foul. You know, they be ready to file a grievance on your ass real quick. And so I said something out of anger. And so I had to go back and recover from it though. But yeah, I have definitely made.
So, you know, I want to add I got a couple mistakes too, since you bring up mistakes, bro. One I may have talked about before, but while we got an LN on here, I want to bring it up. So
first off, you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you say.
Oh, it's over with. Hey, this shit over with. It's over with. It's over with. Hey, this is over with. This happened 20 years ago, guys. 20 years ago, that's what I made sure. But so I got in trouble before, so I tried to get in this spot before, and I had a fake ID, and I got, they got me, right? So I went to the base. So I ain't gonna talk about all the stuff in between, but what I want to say is, how did this happen? So all this stuff happened with the fake ID. I end up I went on leave. I come back off leave, and my chief had all the paperwork from the MAs and stuff about this, about my case and stuff, right? And he tore it up in front of me and say, hey, it's done. How did that happen? What happened in between all of that? How the hell do he get the paperwork and tear it up and be like, you owe me type shit? Oh. How did he get to that point? I'm talking about fake. I got caught dead right. I'm talking about I got handcuffed, brung to the command, the whole nine. So it wasn't like it was hid. You know what I mean? It wasn't like none of that stuff. So how did that happen?
So when they do an investigation and they send it to the command, it's up to the command to take action. Okay, so it wasn't big enough to I'm thinking, man, I got a fake ID and I did it with my government ID, so it's government property type shit. So it was, yeah. He was out there wilding. Yeah, I was young. I was young. It's gonna depend just on your CO. And so that's why it pays to be a good sailor. Yeah. Make that mistake and they gonna have some lenient. But if you've been a little asshole the whole time. Oh yeah. But believe it or not, you are correct though. I was a good sailor. But it was this master chief who used to always give me shit. He was the engineer and he had just made master chief, so always give me shit all the time. But everybody else loved me. But it was this master chief. And guess who had duty when they brought me back that night? Ooh. The master chief was on board. Yeah. And he gave me that look like, finally got your ass look. He gave me, man, finally got your ass look. I was good to go. So, you know what? You brought up this mistake you had made, man. I want to bring up one of these, as a leader mistake, right? So, and I may have talked about this. I hope I didn't talk about this before. But I had this guy that was, he was I was CFL. And he was overweight before. Man, right, about this. But the next year, right? The next year, yeah. That we when funniest clip, yeah. But she wasn't on here, so I gotta break it up. Because it was real, man. It was a real touching moment for me, man. Yeah. I feel like I was finna fuck somebody's career up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you know how you have all the BCA stuff and all that stuff, right? Right. But we did it different this year. We actually put it on the Excel and sent it doing the Excel. But these two people had the same last name. Right? So he put that information on his stuff and he's failed. Right? And then the only thing you gotta do the letter of correction, send it to, whatever. They didn't believe me. Oh, you trying to take up for the sailor, blah, 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 all this. The guy called me. We talking on the phone. Mm-hmm. We ended up getting it corrected. But man, I was scared the whole time because the dude did not want to change it. Because he thought I was trying to, I had to get the CMC involved and all this stuff because they didn't want to change it. Wow. And I thought the whole time, I said, man, because you get to that point, you can't go back in and change no more. Right. So they have to be people who change it. Mm-hmm. Man, I was scared for a minute because I thought this dude was going to get kicked out the Navy at that time for that. Oh, yeah. Man, it was crazy. But yeah. That's just two things though.
Hey, real quick. Just to break up a second, this whole Corona thing, I'm not going to read the NAVADMIN because I don't feel like reading that bullshit, just to be straight up. But the NAVADMIN came out, rescinding the mandate, right? Right. All right, I'm a vent for 2 seconds. That's go ahead. Bullshit. This is not rescinding the mandate, but to do the mandate in the first place. This is just my opinion. We got we do a disclaimer in the beginning of the podcast. That's some bullshit. I wouldn't have put this shit in my body You know what I'm saying? If I ain't want to go out on liberty.
Right.
Like if I ain't want to go out on liberty. Because I didn't wait until the mandate when they said, yo, you can't go out in town when we get to Japan. I said,
Right.
yeah, like let me get I'm going out, man. I wanna go out. I wanna eat whatever they got over there. I want some pho. I want whatever they got over there. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, unfortunately for me though, Angeline had a miscarriage and I wasn't really able to enjoy that much liberty in Japan anyway. But I want to shout out to some of the people that stuck to whatever their actual belief was and was like, I ain't fucking taking this shit or whatever.
Right.
At the time, that was disobeying a lawful order. We talked about that and what that means. But we just talked about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and they disobey lawful orders all the time when they were trying to implement change and things of that nature. We're going to talk about Vanessa Guillen a little bit as well and lawful orders and things of that nature. But as of right now, that was some bullshit. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but that was some bullshit. Like I don't know what to do next or whatever, however, but take a moment. Like y'all making us shoot up some shit in our bodies that like just came out. Like take a moment, figure some shit out. Let's see if we could work some shit out without having to put new shit in our bodies. And just because we're in the military, we gotta abide by that shit. That's how I feel about it. I'm really upset about it. I can't. I don't know how hard I could go. I don't want to go too hard, but I totally, disagreed with that whole shit from the beginning. I'm glad that we rescinded it. I did read the message, and I know at a moment's notice, these motherfuckers gonna make it mandatory again and everything. I saw all that. I saw some caping for people. I saw everything that I needed to see was in that NAVADMIN that I do not want to read. But we gotta stop doing that shit. Let's think longer. Let's figure out more before we start making shit mandatory. That was the weirdest shit that I've seen in the last 3 to 5 years in the military was that mandatory vaccine bullshit that I could finally say was bullshit because they finally rescinded it or whatever like that.
Well, I have
COVID
a
dumb as fuck. Hold on.
Go ahead, bro.
Dumb as fuck. They people, you got your mask on when you in the line to the restaurant, but the moment you sit down at the restaurant, you got to take your mask off to eat. It's dumb, it's bullshit. We didn't know nothing about it. We damn near still don't know shit about it. All we had to do was stay away from each other for a little bit so the shit don't spread. It's a damn virus. Leave me alone. That's it.
All right. This is my take on it, man. I do agree that it was some bullshit. I do agree with that. But at the same time, I think we moved too fast. Right? I think we did stuff too fast. We didn't see the outcome and all this. But at the same time, I'm gonna tell you this. I might be saying this bullshit and all this stuff because I really didn't have a family member that was hit by it. Right? If somebody had a family member that got hit by it, they may have a whole different outlook on it and what happened or whatever. I didn't have nobody that was close to me that died from COVID. And we do all know people was dying. And it's facts. You know what I mean? People was dying about it. But at the same time, I agree with you, man. I think we was moving too fast with that shit, though. I think
don't make me the villain. Don't make me
I did. Look, I had to debate it a little bit. I had to debate it.
I'll be doing that to you. Don't make me the villain. Hey, prayers to the families of everybody that lost somebody due to COVID. That is not okay. But that vaccine and the way we handled it.
We handled it. Yeah, I agree.
We didn't know what we were doing. It was like the government was pushing like a light that they didn't even know was a real light. Like they just pushed some shit like, here, go take this and this gonna help you to not get COVID. And then people still getting COVID after. I didn't want to take it. Yeah. I took it, but I took it, but I waited as long as I could, same as you. And when I found out liberty was about to be withheld, and it was already happening on the ship, and because the other part of what we do in legal is some of the policies that are going to take place, we look at it and say, can you legally do that? So we were discussing my JAG came to me and was like, yeah, they're looking at doing this. And we're looking at the legalities of, can they restrict liberty if you don't get the vaccine? And as soon as that answer was yes, I knew I was going to have to take my ass over there and get the vaccine. So,
you know what, man, since all this stuff is kind of like over with now, man, I think back at like we was doing inspections in Japan, man, and we had to go in a room for 14 straight days, bro. People bringing us food like three meals a day, man. Like we in a room, like, ain't that's crazy, bro? That's
right. Yeah.
Like when you think about it, 14 days, man, straight.
I was in that. That's and then then I had to sneak out to get the second vaccine shot. I'm like, that was another thing to me that was bullshit. Y'all got me quarantining, but I'm able to go out to get the second vaccine shot. Come on, it's not adding up. Where Fauci at? Where Fauci go? Fauci got him out of here. Fauci over there in Bali with Russell Simmons.
Yeah, man.
Fauci is gone. Like, come on.
I'm trying to disappeared. Like, I don't see him no more, man. Like, done.
Got up out of there, man.
Right. I was like, we in trouble when he leaving.
Yeah.
That was our hope. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now that, I kind of got that, off my chest.
Yeah.
Hope you feel better.
Yeah, I really do. Thanks. Hey, Tisha, back to you though. So the Navy, we talked about the Navy. We talked about LN. We talked about what you do there. Before we move forward though, I got another. Is it any other standout cases though? Like that one case was so much. Like I want to hear another one, and I know our listeners. I know they probably want to hear another one too.
Let me see another standout case.
Well, before you get into that, you said you deal mostly with senior ranking, like enlisted and officers,
right? Because I'm at a 3-star staff command, so most of the like our big cases, like our high visibility cases, what we call it, are like the triad relief, or like any officers and chiefs that have to get DFC'd. We deal with those. We do deal with some other stuff with our direct report commands, but for the most part, we have a strike group. We have Desrons that are between us and the ships, so they handle a bulk of it. But the stuff that gets to us is like the high visibility type stuff.
Okay. Well, while you thinking of your other case, I want to talk to the listeners real quick. Integrity check, right? I ain't tell y'all my weight last episode. I forgot to tell y'all. If y'all remember, it was 242 the last time I checked. It's 239.5 when I checked this morning. That was before I went to Krispy Kreme and got the 6th Biscoff special donut. Shout out to the brother Master Chief Alquin Parker. I saw it on his Facebook. He had got some of them Biscoff. Y'all know the Biscoff biscuits that they serve on a flight? They got the Biscoff. They got the Krispy Kreme, got the donut flavors, 3 flavors. I had to, so I got 6, 3 for the wife, and I ate one. So the weight is probably up a pound or 2.
A little bit, maybe a little bit.
It was 239.5. I told y'all, keep me honest. If I don't say it on the pod, DM me, hit me up. Y'all supposed to be helping me. Y'all supposed to be helping me. So if I don't lose no weight, I'm gonna blame y'all or whatever like that. All right, well, back to you, Tish. Can you think of anything?
I can't really. Nothing like is really jumping out other than that one case. I always say like for the cases, it's like same case, different face. We have a lot of the same type of offenses that happen. Oh wait, there was this one. This dude was like a straight up drug kingpin, active duty, like trafficking drugs, heavy. Where was I? I forget where I was. I don't remember if I was out here or Japan, but he was that dude. He was that dude, and yeah, he went to a court martial. But because we typically get like the small little drug cases, drug pops or whatever. They don't usually go to a court martial, but we get like the small little drug cases. But no, this dude was the man. Yeah, he was the man. And then I think the other big one, which was like a big newsworthy one was the Gallagher trial that we dealt with, the Navy SEAL guy.
Mm-hmm.
Who the one who killed the allegedly killed the Afghan prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a crazy case. It went on for forever, and it had such a huge media presence. Like, it was news, people all over the base, all in the courtrooms. Trump was tweeting about it. So it was it was crazy. And it was really like a shift in like how like the military justice system worked. We had never seen it happen like that, where you got the president tweeting that he wants something to happen, and then next thing you know, it's happening. Like, that was just so like, what? Like, really? This how we do policies now? Is this how we running? But it was that whole administration. There was just so much, unorthodox things that was going on in the world, and it was just crazy that it was just happening like right in front of our face with this trial. And I think his defense attorney was one of Trump's attorneys. And so he had Trump in his back pocket. It was information being leaked out to the media, death threats. It was crazy.
Yeah,
he was crazy.
Acquitted, right? He was acquitted.
Yes, he was. Mm-hmm. He was acquitted. He probably somewhere with getting sponsors and everything of everybody who was riding with him. So
probably got a book deal or something.
Right. Oh, yeah, I know you got a book deal. No doubt.
I did it, this is how I would do it. Be like OJ. Be like OJ.
That's crazy. That's crazy right there, bro.
I ain't about to laugh too hard, man. You said he was a Navy SEAL. Did you have any contact with the Barham Rashad case at all? Did you, were you anywhere?
It was so high level that we didn't really deal with it in our office per se. Like, we were in the loop on what was going on, but we didn't convene the investigations. There was like a number of investigations that was going on with it. There was an NCIS side, there was a Navy side of it. And so there was actually a team that was formulated for this particular, for the fire. So, and they took people from different locations. I mean, they were taking people from the East Coast. Like, they were just taking a lot of people to build this team. And we had I think we had one junior LN that went to go help with like, just like the paper part of it. Just like, not really doing like any interviews or anything like that. I don't think. I think they were just kind of doing like more admin type stuff. Like, once the case is ready, kind of building the paper version of this case. And it was huge. It was huge. And that was just the Navy side of it. There was also the NCIS side. And I don't even see how big that case was. Like the paper wise, I didn't even see how big it was. But yeah, that was a rough time. That was a rough time. It was just a lot going on.
Yeah. Hey, so real quick, I want to make sure we get this out there, Tisha. So I know you do some things outside of the Navy, and I'd like for you to get that out and put something out about that.
Yeah, I'm a little hustler.
One thing, because we've been talking about family, we've been talking about time and how we kind of split that up and all that stuff. I think it's a good segue for you to get in there.
Right. So, I am a Airbnb co-host. Short-term rental is what it really is, but people, know the term Airbnb better. But I have a few Airbnbs out here. Do real estate investing. I'm a Turo host also. So that's like the cars.
What's up? Okay.
Yeah, it's like the Airbnb of cars, where you own a car and then people rent the car. You're a car rental agency essentially. But instead,
how many cars you got?
That's on Turo 4.5, I would say, because the car that I drive, I'll put that on there in a quick second too.
Hustling. She read them case files from old boy.
Right, like for the right price. Listen, and yeah, I do all of this while I'm on active duty. Because I have to have people that do stuff for me. I do some of the stuff, like when I leave here, I got to go clean my Airbnb. I have a cleaner, but I also clean sometimes too, depending on what's going on. And I'm off today, so I figured I could go and take care of that. But my Toro, I don't do anything with that, like other than answer the phone. I have a person who talks to the guests. He does the drop-offs and pickups. He gets the car washed. He does the maintenance for the car, and then I pay him a percentage.
So like, we gotta say this: you're a lady boss, right? Lady boss, right? That's a good term for that. And it sounds like you got jobs or you got businesses that like you don't have to do that much work for, like
right? And I had to. I had to, because the military is going to demand what they demand. And I sign a contract at the end of the day, and I'm loyal to that contract. And so that means if I have to hire people and pay other people to do it because I can't, then that's just a decision that I had to make. I mean, I'm definitely making more money paying somebody to do it than me doing. Than if I just decided, no, I'm not going to do it because I can't. Like, I'm definitely, I'm making some money now.
We most definitely gonna talk about this offline. I can tell you that, man. I'm very interested.
Definitely. I'm always willing to help other people. I did have like a course that I was doing, but that was that one thing that I added that was too much because it was taken away from too much at home. Because I couldn't see clients at work. So I come home and then I kiss the kids. I come upstairs and I'm in Zoom meetings all evening. And so it just became to where I looked up and I was just like, dang, I'm not even like being a mom. Like, I'm not even like attentive to my kids because I'm grinding so hard. And so that was the last thing that I added. That was the thing that was taken away from home the most. So I had to kind of step away from that. So I don't do like the organized courses, but anybody that calls me that wants to like start doing Airbnb, they're interested in it, want to do Toro, I definitely put people on. I put a
Can
couple.
they email you?
Yeah. My email. Yeah. You want me to get my email address out here?
You can, and then we'll drop it in the thing too.
Okay. Yeah. My email address is Artisha at thejclegacy.com. That's my LLC. So you can hit me up there. So
okay.
I got you. Put everybody on.
I got a theory about conditioning, right? So, and it's bred from like my wife and her siblings. Like their parents, they own property and they own a restaurant, and they, so like the way my wife and her siblings outlook like on life, for instance, is like is owning things. Like when they do things, they do things to own things and stuff like that. I got other friends who parents, who never kind of grew up, and then even their grandparents are like that. But I got other friends who like never grew up at all with that as a ceiling, and you could see the difference. Like some people got to break generational curses, but some people are like kind of instilled with this stuff like since like youth. So like my wife's brother, for instance, John, he owned a house. He bought his house. He probably was like young in age to me, and the way my family was is like he was like 24 years old when he got his his first house or whatever like that. Some people went younger. So my question to you is, did some of this mentality come from like your parents at all? Are they also business owners?
No.
Or were you like breaking generation? Okay.
Yeah, no, my mom was like a factory type worker all of her life. We owned, she owned our home, the home that I grew up in, and in the divorce, didn't own anymore after that. I have other family members who own the house to stay in, but no one really looked at owning a home as a business. I would say that and that was the same with like even my aunts, my mom and all her siblings. But my generation and my family, there's a number of us who are getting more into the business aspect, actually. Not even like, and it's funny because we're not even like, hey, we got to do this, we got to do that. It's just naturally, I don't know if it's like the culture now and like how a lot of people are like starting their own business and stuff. And, but my generation in my family, a number of us are doing like business type stuff. Some still, have the 9 to 5, but they also have their business on the side too. So
when did this start for you?
It started for me 2 years ago, actually, because the Navy was kind of all I've ever known. And I started Airbnb on a whim. I lived an hour and a half away. I lived in Marietta. I bought a condo up there. And that traffic, that commute back and forth was just getting really heavy on my kids. And so I decided, okay, well, I'm going to move back down to the San Diego area. And I needed to rent my house. And I was going to do like the typical get a long-term tenant. But I was just going to be breaking even. And I was like, nah, that's not really what I'm trying to do. And somebody was like, why don't you do Airbnb? I didn't even know what it was, honestly. So I had to look it up and figure it all out. And through trial and error, I just kind of was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I was like, if I don't make it, we're going to be homeless.
But, bet on yourself.
Right. And I was like, well, that just means I don't have a choice but to succeed. And so I was definitely scared going in. There was definitely a fear because it wouldn't just affect me, it would affect my kids. But luckily I had people around me that supported me and, everything like that. So I jumped out there, I did it, and it has been great. I made more my first year in the Navy, or I made more my first year on Airbnb than I do in the Navy. When I did my first tax return, and I was like, what? You mean to tell me? First,
pay something, money.
And that's because on our W-2s they don't include BAH. Even if you add BAH in there, it was still over that amount just by doing the Airbnb, car rental, and then the course that I had for a short period of time. I'm gonna start it back up, but I'm gonna wait until I'm out of the Navy before I start it back up so that I can actually like dedicate more time to it.
Did you started the car rental after you started the Airbnb thing?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it was probably about a year later because I wanted a Tesla, but I didn't want to pay for a Tesla. So I bought I already had a Jeep. I bought a Tesla, and then I put both of them on Turo. And what I would do when one would get booked, I would block the other. And so I just kept it. And this was when I was doing Turo myself. So I would have to do the airport drop off, and I was having to do this stuff before work. So I would go early in the morning, drop it off at the airport, come back, take an Uber back home, and then go to work because I didn't want it to disturb work at all. Very adamant about that. That means I had to pay more because airport parking is no joke. It's $32 a day. And that $32 hit like after like hour 7 or something like that. So I would park it in the morning for an afternoon pickup. And
so you crawl before you walk.
Right. And so then I bought, so I had the Jeep, I bought the Tesla, and then I bought a BMW. And then I put the Tesla was out all the time. And I already had a guy that was going to be working my cars and everything. And I wanted to drive my Tesla. Like, I loved that car. So I went and bought another one. But the guy at the dealership was like, you can buy 2 cars at once. He didn't see the Jeep. He didn't see the BMW because it hadn't hit my credit report yet. And he was like, you can buy 2 cars pretty much by doing the same thing. He would send it out to 2 different banks, get the approval to 2 different banks, but they don't see that I have, this other car. So by the time I left it, I had to call somebody to come up. Left the dealership with 2 cars, a Porsche and a Tesla. So that gave me 5 total cars. And then I could have went and bought another one. Like, I knew the game. I was scared of the game. I knew the game though, because when I started doing the research on Turo, there was this guy that's based out of Atlanta, I think. He went and bought like 15 cars in a 2-week time period because he was just buying cars because they hadn't hit his credit report yet.
Yeah. So, all right. So look, so I hate to ask this question, and we never kind of go this route, but it just seemed like natural order right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is dating hard? Like, with you getting all this money? Like,
it's a struggle. It is a struggle, but if you, because like now it's like, well, you can't just date anybody. You know, they have to be on their shit too, because otherwise it's kind of like a different dynamic. Because I don't want to be the man in the household. Okay, I don't want to be the man. And so, and I don't like feeling like, you know, money just gonna make you feel like you got power anyway, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was recently Gabrielle Union was saying like, she felt like she could cheat because, and like, right. But it's like,
what'd she say?
She said she felt like she could cheat because she was a breadwinner. And like, I get it. Like, I don't necessarily agree, but I get it, because not with the cheating part, but like when I'm like feeling like a male role, I consider it a male role. I don't care about equal opportunity. I want to be a girl. But when you're in that role though, you tend to like be more masculine just by nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to be soft. And so I want someone who's also doing their thing. We can put our pots together. And then it's not even like I want somebody to like take care of me, or I want, you know, somebody to like give me money. Like, I don't really need it because I got my own. Like, let's put our money together and let's do some things. Like, I'm here for the you know, the generational wealth of it. And I don't see why one person should be the one, like, you know, paying all the bills and all my money is like just tucked away in my pocket, you know?
Yeah. I look at it like, I think the way I look at it is, I feel assured if I know that the person that I'm with could take care of themselves.
Right.
Like you could take, you know, man, it's a lot of relationship stuff going on with the internet right now, the whole what you bring to the table and all those conversations. We won't get into that too much, but it's like, I'm confident that you could take care of yourself. And if I'm confident that if, you know, shit fell through for me or shit hit the fan for me for that little bit of period of time where I'm trying to figure it out, you know, you got my back, you know, and it's the same thing, you know, for you. And I think listening to you talk, it sound like that it ain't that you want somebody to take care of you, but you want somebody that's able to take care of themselves.
Right.
Like, straight up.
Right. That's it. That's it. You just gotta take care of yourself and be able to contribute something. Because I mean, I do have a goal in life, and I do have like, and it's not like, oh, I want to live in the biggest house and all that stuff. It's, you know, a generational thing is my goal. So I need someone who's gonna be able to match that goal, and not someone who's okay with settling with like mediocrity.
Yeah. Damn, so you probably making damn near as much or more money than your commanding officer. I mean, I don't know, you might work for an admiral. Them admirals,
they bringing it in. They be bringing it in. But I mean, yeah. I mean, I gotta do my taxes now. But yeah. I mean, you can make a lot. I think I made Airbnb alone last year. I made $120.
Yeah.
And that was,
you still got,
and then I still had the Navy, still had the Turo. So it can bring in some. Now this year ain't at 120. This year we got hit hard. We got hit hard this year, but still, I mean, it wasn't bad, you know, but but it definitely wasn't last year's numbers. But
Yeah. And you did all this. You did all this on your own accord, pretty much, right? Like,
right.
I mean, maybe some YouTube University here and there.
Right. I started off watching YouTube videos, and then I actually invested into an Airbnb coach. And so that was because I was serious about it. Like, it was like, this is something I want to like do for real. And so I invested into a coach where I could like, get like some for real, like good. And yes. And I invested in a business coach too. And I mean, I spent some money. I spent some guapage on, just perfecting the craft and like always being able to like, one, for accountability, have somebody that's going to be like, have you done this? Because with everything going on, it'll be easy to just push that off to the side and be like, oh, I didn't get to it today. But to have that accountability, somebody that I have to like answer to, and then somebody who's done it before. And then like, it was like group sessions too. And so it's like listening to other people's experiences. I may not have experienced it yet, but when I do experience, there were some things that I did experience later and I already had to answer, or I implemented things to make sure that that didn't happen. Like the whole parties and all of that stuff. Like, I don't really have issues like that. I don't play that. Ain't nobody gonna tear up my shit.
Like, so can you shortlist? So I got a question. Can you shortlist like the Airbnb? So the reason why I'm asking this is this. I plan on coming to California, right? Also, like, just oddly, I don't want to go nowhere with this, Damon, but the detailer offered like me to go back to sea like early, right? And if I did do that, I would kind of think about going to San Diego or whatever. But all right, off of that though, I plan on visiting California, and most likely when I do, I want to shoot some podcasts or stuff like that, and I need like a nice, decent, place to do that. If I was trying to come to Cali to visit, right, my wife don't really trust Airbnbs that much, and probably because she don't know, the owners. But would it be a way, like, if I was hitting you up, like, hey, Tisha, like, I'm coming to Cali, can I get one of your Airbnb spots? Is it like you could just be like, yeah, go here, find this, look this up, or to like do I have to go through?
To like shoot? Oh yeah. If you just want to like stay in it, yeah. Yeah, you can go. Okay. You can come directly to me. I actually just started taking direct bookings. I built a website, and so now I have a website and where people can book directly, without having to go through the whole Airbnb, because Airbnb is going to take a cut from both the host and they take a cut from the guest, the traveler, so they can kind of cut out the middleman and book with me directly. So,
you about to cut Airbnb out?
Yeah, soon. I'm trying to cut them out soon.
Oh, man,
there's the reason why I love this so much is because you can do so much with it. I've even had people like you were talking. I thought you were saying like if you wanted to go shoot a podcast,
that too,
at Airbnb.
That too, yeah.
I've had people to come to my Airbnb to shoot commercials. You can rent it out to shoot music videos. I'm actually looking at either out here, probably not out here because I'm going to leave after I retire, but getting the name of it just lost me. Not an event space, but like I just lost the name. Oh, you heard of Peer Space?
Like, yeah.
Where you can like go, you can have the studios, you can do the photography. Right. So I want to do something like that where I have a commercial building with different rooms, and each room is set up for those different things. And so people can rent it for however many hours, just to use that location.
Damn, yo. That's dope, man. So you got a whole lot going on.
Yeah, that's why I gotta go. That's why I gotta go.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think they can pay you this
right. It's just a lot more that now that I'm into this world and I see things a whole lot differently. Now it's just like, dang, like money is that easy to make.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't have to like sit somewhere and do it. Like the passive income is mine. Dang. Like,
Yeah, I look at it like the pool not that cold after you put your body in, right?
Right.
Like it's like
Exactly. It seems
scary.
scary.
Like this is cold.
It seems scary at first, but it's really like it's once you jump into it, it's not. And if you have the mentality of by any means necessary, I'm gonna get this done. I'm willing to put in the work for it. You 9 times out of 10, you won't fail. You know. Unless it's like, you know, something happened with the economy or whatever. But I started mine in COVID. During COVID, I started it and did very well, even with things being down, like did very well with it. So I say jump out and do it. Just do it.
Damn.
Do it. Just do it.
You got any more questions about that, Damon?
Nah, man. I want to get.
Hold on one second. I don't think my. Oh, it's not. I need to plug up my laptop real quick.
We just gonna keep this thing rolling. We just gonna keep rolling.
Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling, man.
Listeners hear that, man.
Yeah.
Wait.
Real life,
the light
real
gonna
time.
go out. Oh, here we go. Hold on. I'm like, I thought I had it.
Oh yeah,
up.
this gonna be a good little skit right here.
You know what?
Apparently, she got a bunch of Legos or something stacked up in the background. When she grabbed her laptop cable, they all fall. Yeah, Damon, the detailer said back out to sea, man. Like he offered it, but I'm talking to a couple mentors and seeing what they think about it before I,
where? Oh, okay, I got you. I like that, bro.
Did you wanted to ask most embarrassing moment, Damon? That was a question.
That's done. Don't worry.
So we can talk about Vanessa. Vanessa again. Well, first of all, did you watch that documentary, Tisha?
I did not. No, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
Familiar?
I'm familiar with the case and all of that stuff. For the most part, I'm familiar with it. But yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, as a LN, like I see so much of stuff like that, I don't really dig into it too often, unless it's something that like is personal to me. But
yeah, so we watched it, right? We watched it. You watched it last night, Damon?
Yeah, I watched it last night. Yeah.
All right, so I watched it as well, but I watched it along with the 60 Minutes. I watched the 60 Minutes documentary a while ago, right? So this one the 60 Minutes documentary was more about the crime, right? How the family handled the crime. This Netflix documentary went into the crime a little bit, talked a lot about, the family, and then even more about how the family handled the legislation and getting this thing passed into law. And before we even get into our thoughts, Tisha, what's your thoughts on just that whole period of time when we found out about her and that all of that? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
It was kind of shocking to me. It made me grateful to be in like the Navy culture, because you don't really see stuff like that per se. Not at that, like with like the command cover-ups and all of that stuff, allegedly. They're allegedly in there. Yeah. But you don't really see a lot of that, in the Navy. So it really did make me grateful for the culture of the Navy and how we like really do take stuff like this seriously. But yeah, that was my initial take on it. And then outside of that, like I just thought it was like just like real. It was just very sad, and a lot of times there are victims that, they're saying, this is what's happening, and then people don't believe them, So it's a very real thing. And although like I think the Army had kind of started, like all the branches of service really at the same time started taking sexual assault more serious, but I don't know. It seemed like the Army didn't really jump on board with that.
Have you ever like been in one of those uncomfortable? So they were saying like her leaders like put her in a few uncomfortable situations before. That some of them were sexual harassment, like straight up. But then have you ever been in one of those like uncomfortable situations?
Yeah, the Navy has its creeps. You know, that's what I call them. The creepy people, where it's just like, or, you know. So yeah, I have been in those situations before, but luckily nothing that was like that big. I've never been like assaulted or anything like that, but I know somebody who told me that a guy at their command just walked up to like just kissed them. Like they hadn't even like talked like that before, you know?
Yeah.
And he just like, you know, said he needed to talk to her, and then he kissed her, and she's like, what are you doing? Like, what chemistry are you thinking that is there that's not there? Okay. Yeah. Right. Great. And she even asked, like, what did I do to make you think that would be okay? And sometimes it's that person just, it's like I'm going to go for it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to try it and see what happens. But it's like, yeah, that's not cool. Like, nah, don't just go for it. And I feel like I actually have had somebody to try, and then I kind of like, you know, Dodge was like, what? But
people be thinking they in the movies, like it's like a movie moment. Like
some people will just try to create a mood that ain't there. Yeah. And it's like, bruh, nah, this ain't it. Like, you will get touched if you come at me wrong. You can definitely get touched, but some people aren't like really comfortable with that. And some people aren't really comfortable with like the confrontation of having to be like, no, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like,
I know.
The guy will take them not saying no as consent.
Yeah. And I asked it like that because of some people, like, you know, they try to throw little hints out there.
Right.
Like throw little shit out there to see how you respond to the little hint. But you're right. Somebody can come straight up and try to kiss you all of a sudden. They don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I got you.
Right. Yeah. But I do try to, because like I'm very sensitive to like males and like males like approaching women, because I'm just glad I'm a woman, because for God, it's hard out there for y'all. Y'all are expected to make the first move, and you know, you might get B-boxed. Like, what? Yeah. Get embarrassed, and like y'all go through that at a very early age. And
when phones started popping, when them cell phones started popping, y'all was all on the phone. All y'all be on the phone.
Exactly. Like, and like the way that women sometimes will give our no thank you is like very harsh sometimes.
Yeah. Yep.
And so men will be like, well, dang, like I don't even want to approach nobody now. But some of them, they just don't know what to do. And they be like, I'm just going to go for it. Or, you know, they'll say like little things out the way, or they don't really catch on to the hint. Cause I've had situations where, you know, somebody has like kind of like persistently, almost like harassment, like might as well say it is harassment, where it's like, I don't told you no one time, no, come in my fucking DMs no more.
Yeah.
Like, and they just like keep on going. It's like, and those are the ones that I call like the creepers. Like, you know, like, but you also have this aspect of like the guys who have the swag, who women like. I would have to say, and this might not be popular, that if a girl likes a guy, if she's attracted to him and he did the same thing, would that be the same response?
I mean, I'm gonna be quiet on that.
But not in Vanessa's case, but like in general. But would it be? Would you call it? Yeah, would you call it harassment or
double standard? It's definitely double standard when it comes to things like that. It's definitely like Michael B. Jordan. Like Michael B. Jordan could go out and probably do the same thing as Elmer Fudd, and it's going to look, you know, it's going to look.
It ain't going to come out the same.
Totally different. Yeah,
call me Michael. Call me.
Yeah. All right, so let's get back to this Vanessa Guillen doc that's on Netflix. It's called #I am Vanessa Guillen, and like we said, it's about the law that was passed and a few other things. I'm glad they didn't harp too much on the crime and that violent act, because 60 Minutes did a great job at telling that part of the story, which is still a tragic story.
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing that stuck out to me was the things that were happening in Fort Hood, right? So they talking about smuggling people across the border. These are all service members doing all of these things.
All them crimes is crazy.
Sexual assault advocate that was actually a pimp. And these things are like standing out to these people, but like we, you know, in the military, these shits happen on small ships, big ships. So we see it too in our career. It was a prostitution ring, and then as you know, multiple missing persons on that base. Did any of that stuff stick out to you, Damon? Or?
Yeah, that stuff stuck out, man. But I'm gonna tell you what stuck out me the most, man, was a family, man. Like you talking about going up against the military, man. You talking about standing outside of the base out there. So that stood out to me. And I'm gonna tell you, man, the mom couldn't even speak English, man. But when they were interpreting what she was saying, man, she was like, "I will shut this base down." Man, that's powerful, man. Like the stuff that the daughters and her went through, man, and was, I'm talking about, like, it was full speed ahead. It didn't matter. They was getting answers.
Right.
They was getting answers, being persistent. And I can see some people be like, yeah, this is my kid. I'm trying to find out, you know what I mean, what's going on. But man, it's the military. It's the government. I'm kind of like, I'm going to be kind of cautious on how I'm saying this and how I'm saying that. Not with this family, man. So I'm telling you, man, I got so much respect, you know, for the family and how they came down and how they handled it. Because they knew it, man. Being a family member, I got brothers, I got a sister, man. You feel stuff, man.
Yeah.
You can feel when you hear a conversation or whatever, you know something ain't quite right.
Right.
You know, like if I hit my brother up, I know this dude answered the phone because I know what type of work he do. I know what job he do. He got no reason not to text me back or answer me, right? But if I hit him up and he don't within an hour or two, I'm like, let me hit this dude back up. Some ain't right. Some ain't feeling like, you know, right. And they felt that. You could see all that stuff that's happening. And then it was religious too. So, you know, it was like all working together, man. And I respect them a lot on what happened. All the stuff that you talked about, Dumbo, was like mind-boggling though, man.
Yeah.
You know, the cover-ups was mind-boggling. And then somebody said something like the other guy that was talking and saying everybody should be like fired. Why they was not? Like, why? It's like it should have been chain of commands all the time up on that base, man. Like, what in the hell is going on?
Right.
Well,
it's crazy.
The dude compared it to Walmart, right? He made an analogy to Walmart, and this might be interesting to you, Tisha. But the dude, he made an analogy to Walmart. He's like, it's like if somebody on the floor say that they was sexually harassed. They were saying like the military chain of command and the way we handle. They talked about the Privacy Act, which I found was very interesting. But they also talked about the way we handle like these legal cases, harassments and assaults. And they were saying like everything was on the kind of responsibility of the commanding officer, right? And how commanding officers got so much power. And he was saying that like it as if in Walmart, this person on the floor said that this other person on the floor harassed him. And then they took it up to the manager of the Walmart that they worked at. And the manager of the Walmart had the pretty much jurisdiction or the credentials to say, nah, like it wasn't harassment. Right. And then that was over. He was like, we could even go higher. They took it to the district manager. He was like, or we could go higher. They take it to the regional manager. Or we could go all the way up to they taking it to like the CEO or the general operator of like Walmart. And that person from Walmart is astute enough and knowledgeable enough in the legal systems that they could deem like, because anywhere outside of the military, it's actual like lawyers and a whole bunch of people that could like make this determination. They were saying this is how much power we give to commanding officers and military chain of command. And I found that to be interesting. And I'm sure that's probably interesting too, because you work on the other side of that where there are people that have the legal credentials to like, and outside of what we talk about with Vanessa again, but you work on a side where there are people that have credentials to make some of these kinds of, you know, decisions outside of the commanding officer.
Right.
But I guess...
Well, it's not really a decision. It's more so like recommendations when it's like, and that's the thing when it's in, if something was to happen like that at our command, our JAG would make a recommendation to the admiral on how he should act. What the admiral do with that information is on him. So they still have the power, you know?
Damn.
They still have that power.
And they say they fought for this act. I wrote a whole lot of notes, but I don't know if I'm gonna go through them all. But in fighting for this shit, they say like the only real thing that changed was like, so it says the commander still has the control, but the decision of whether or not to prosecute is what changed with this new I Am Vanessa Guillen bill that got signed. It's now that the commander can make a decision whether or not to take it outside of, I guess, the chain of command, if I understand that.
Yeah.
Right. But that documentary was interesting. That documentary was interesting from like you mentioned earlier, Tisha, about like she made several complaints about harassment. And they literally, like, while she was missing, they literally went to some press conference in some room and said that those complaints were unfounded, and they, you know, and her sister was like, they pretty much called my sister a liar.
Right.
You know, and then like later on, it comes back that those complaints weren't unfounded. Like they were like legitimate complaints. That shit was crazy, man.
Hey man, wasn't that so powerful? That part of the show was so powerful because literally this girl is missing, and you come on national TV and say she wasn't harassed.
Yeah.
Like that was crazy to me too. Like literally this dude standing up here with a straight face saying, we looked at all this stuff and it was found that it wasn't harassment while she's missing.
Right.
So her sister, I got a question, right, for both of y'all. So while I'm watching the doc, her sister said that one of the people that harassed her is still has a career, right? I thought about it, you know, and I'm like, well, yeah, in some cases, somebody would still have a career. I don't think that we've like become, you know, a force where we get rid of everybody that like does something wrong or gets in trouble, harassment or whatever. But specifically for sexual harassment, right? It is a heavy question. Y'all can fucking say y'all not gonna answer it. But what do y'all think should happen to harassment offenders? Should every harassment offender be like separated?
I go first. I'm gonna say no. And it all depends on the sailor and all that stuff, and depending on if they did it multiple times and all that stuff. And now if you said something like assault or something, it could be different. But we talking about harassment, right? So harassment, man, like now I'm gonna tell you this. I do think whoever harassed, one of them has to go too, though, right? Because you have affected, you got a toxic environment now. So when I say gotta go, meaning another command somewhere else.
Yeah. But we ain't even talk about that at all. We ain't talk about that at all. We talk about what should happen to the person that commits the act of harassment.
I mean, most definitely you gonna go to captain mass or master and all that type of stuff. But I don't think they should be kicked out for harassment.
Do we have proper counseling for offenders?
No,
shit, we don't. We need.
No, we don't. Actually, that's I can't think of anything that we have for like offender type. All counselings that we have in place are, for the most part, just for the victims, the offenders. If this is something that like they have a problem with, I don't think that there's any counseling. If there's someone who has like a genuine problem, then maybe they need to go. If it's like
multiple times,
multiple times, uncontrollable urge, then maybe they do need to go. I mean, and maybe there's a part of mental health, like the mental health program. Maybe there is something that's in there where they can get through counseling. They can kind of target that, but there's nothing particularly for it. But for all harassment, because some harassment cases aren't like the egregious harassment. Some of it is just like, okay, he's just a little creepy. Or he made a comment that was out the way that was probably against Navy policy or something like that. And you can fix that. But the ones that are just like predatory, they need to go. They probably need to go. And a lot of times it's senior people with the predatory, because it's like they can affect your career and like And then just them anchors just look a little different. You put on them khakis.
You think you sexy. You think you sexy now.
Right.
You think you sexy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when I say they should, I want to add this too, man. When I say they shouldn't be like kicked out or whatever, and everything teacher said was correct, but also they may get reported just one time, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you got multiple people start coming up and saying he or she doing this, I think that could be taken into consideration too. Then,
right?
Because now they doing this to multiple people. We just don't know what one count, right? But I think all that should be taken into accountability. Yeah.
Right. They actually just created a program through NCIS that actually tracks those little cases like that when someone reports something, but it doesn't actually go through any type of legal case to where they would pop up in a system. They actually report, like NCIS has a database that they keep those people's names in there. And that way, if they start to see a trend, now they can be like, wait a minute, let's look a little bit deeper into this person. So that's recent too. I think that's like something that's just started over the past like year or two, maybe. I mean, I just heard about it just this past year. So as cases like this happens, like there are things that get put into place to try to target like those problems that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to get an SME on at some point so we could talk to them about what do we offer for like counseling and rehab for offenders. Because my opinion on this would be contingent on what we have in place for offenders. If it ain't shit in place for you, then you probably gotta go. But if we could rehab you or like make you better, of course, depending on the offense, then it might, I always believe in like if we could help, somebody and make them better, let's help them, make them better, rehab them. Like we didn't just lose, a person. So let's figure that part out. And then so I think we might need an expert. In my opinion, I think we need an expert.
Damon,
so you saying, so I want to make sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Damon, so for FAP, I know they have like for the DV, they have those courses that the offenders can take, but that's really it, right? It's just for, is it DV focused?
Yeah. It's nothing to do with the FAP side of it. Yeah.
Tell her you don't know yet.
Well,
David, tell her you ain't learned that. You tell her you ain't learned the collateral yet.
Oh no, for domestic violence. So you're right. They got treatment for both. You do got treatment for both on the domestic violence.
But that's just DV though. If you're like a harassment, then it won't really help that person. Okay.
Yeah, which don't fall in the FAP at all.
Right.
Tell the truth, man. I ain't get that deep in my studies yet, man. I don't know, man. I looked at the PowerPoint.
Hey, I had to think, you trying to throw it off so you could think a little bit. I was trying to throw it off so I could think a little bit. Like,
I looked at this.
He talking about FAP now. I gotta.
Like, wait a minute.
I gotta get it.
I looked at that CBT, bro, and they like, they quiz you on some shit. Like, is this a CMC's role in the FAP case? Is this a such and such role? I was getting them shits, bro. I was like, oh, let me go back. I really got to concentrate on this. I'm like, that's the CMC do that. Like,
hey, CMC got a lot to do with that shit, boy.
Oh man. Hey, so what did we miss? Is there anything you want to say that you haven't said? Anything we want to get to that we haven't got to?
No, I don't think so.
You want to repeat where people can find you?
Oh, yeah. So you can find me, you can email me at Artisha, ARTISHA @thejclegacy.com. You can hit me up there and I got you. Turo, Airbnb, want to be an LN, you can hit me up there too and I'll get you in the right spot. I'm pushing this LN thing because we hurting.
Yeah.
We hurting.
This was fun, yo. This was dope. Like
good job. Great job.
Out of all of our guests, I'll say that you are the first of our guests that I have not met before the podcast, in any capacity at all. You know what I'm saying? or I wasn't even familiar with, for instance, we had probably outside of that, we had an author. We had somebody who wrote a book. She's a doctor and everything like that. But I read her book. You know what I'm saying? I had some information, some background. So I just want to give myself props for how well I handled myself on this episode.
Good job, Dumbo. Good job, Dumbo.
I'm just joking, but this definitely was a really good conversation. You have a whole lot going on, and I hope that you do pass, that information off, because we are still sharp and still and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But man, this, like I said, Lady Boss, you're doing your thing, and it's crazy that the more we talked, we kind of opened up into that conversation, which is super interesting. The Navy cannot pay you to keep you. You getting up out of here, going somewhere else and getting your money.
Gotta get this money.
Most definitely.
But I love it though. I love it. And I wish I knew a long time ago what I know now, because I would be retiring a millionaire had I known, even just with real estate, buying property, renting them out, buying multi-units. I just learned all that stuff now. So I'm quick to try to even junior people, put them on hey, buy property everywhere you go. Put your BAH to use. And then when you get ready to leave, rent it out to some other people and go buy another property somewhere else. Real estate is what make millionaires, really. And so I'm just trying to figure out my way to get there.
Generational wealth.
Generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? Trying to build my own little plantation.
Hey, for the listeners, I had a book review. I am not going to review it. We'll be back. Are we back next week, Naaman? Please say
we back next week, man.
All right, we're going to be back next week. We're going to have the Hero of the Week. We're going to have the Book of the Week. We're going to have the other episode of Echo 3. The little airplane movie is out that I want to watch. The other movie is out that I want to watch.
I got a confession, man.
You already finished the show. You finished the show. Got it.
Bro, new episode came out last night. It was Echo, but it was episode 10.
Yeah, you watched it.
I already watched it, bro. I couldn't stop. Watching. So I'm sorry. So now what's bad thing about it though is now I have to go back. Yeah, I did it again. Sorry. But now I had to go back and watch every episode.
That like that? Is Ella okay with you being like that?
Yeah.
She okay with you skipping shows like that, man? You're doing this to your man, to your friend, dog. I'm sure you're doing this at home.
Yes. Hey, you might have talked to her too, man, because she be watching it. She want to watch it every time. She waiting on Friday. Is that good, man?
Echo, right?
She's waiting on Friday.
Echo.
I
had to check it out.
Echo 3.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
What is? Oh, Apple.
But yeah.
Matter of fact, you may have to catch up. You may have to catch up. We'll be talking. We'll be talking soon. Catch up.
Yeah. Anything else, Damon?
No, that's all I got, man. Mississippi stand up. You guys know what time it is.
Damon don't thank our guests. He don't thank the guests.
Hey, thank you. Hey, you know what? Thank you, Tisha. This is actually. You know what? Dumbo. You know what, man? Me and Tisha been talking about this. We've been trying to do this for a while, though.
We have.
Dumbo. We've been trying to hook up and get this done for a while. So finally got it done. Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll be talking to you more about this soon.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Thank you for the invite. This was really fun. I liked it. So
I'll
most definitely be back whenever y'all need me. Let me know. I'm here.